Killer Come Back to Me by Ray Bradbury. Chapter 2, L.A. Boss Man. He was wanted. For the first time in his life, people actually were seeking him. The same people who'd shoved him into gutters, starved his parents, ignored him in coal mines, refused him coffee dimes. These same people were horrifiedly aware of him now, and concerned with his welfare and what he was doing each day. Sure. Brogman, in angry, shocked rips, tore the morning paper down, and across, and down again. Julie set a steaming coffee mug on the table of the Motel Inn and ordered, "Drink it and quit reading papers. They lie like hell." He felt of his big brown hands and the gun shining on the blue tablecloth. "God's sake, Julie, I'm not a criminal. I'm a human being." "Sure, both of us are. Self-preservation, you know." He learned to walk tall, stiffer, with his guts tucked in. She told him how to talk faster, pull a gun by the swiftest, safest method, pressing it close to his body so only a few people would see it. She could have written a book about banks. She wrote on her tongue for him. There were ways of hitting people's nerves with the knife edge of your stiff hand to knock them out as good as a gun. She showed him. A mustache appeared, sandily on his lip. His hair grew sandy on his neck and grew the way she ordered it to grow. It was acting, rehearsing for a bigger part. In his dreams, her voice struck again and again at him. No, Johnny, not that way, this way." The day Julie brought the new car and drove into Victorville, Brogman found himself sweltering in the little 2x4 room, rummaging idly through her traveling kit, sorting out handkerchiefs, a lipstick, a packet of photographs. Shucking them from their envelope, he lined the pictures side by side on the bedspread in the sunlight. It took him a minute to understand what his eyes were looking at. At first, they had looked like pictures of himself. This one here, standing by the sedan in a dark suit. There was something about the dark cloth over long muscled bones, something suggestive in the posture. And this one, himself almost, in hiking breeches, a shabby hat cocked over rebellious hair. And the last one, Julie, with her arm around this man who didn't look at all like Johnny Brogman, but at the same time did. It gave him a stunned feeling, like having a body in two places at once. "I'll be damned," he said softly. The door opened a few minutes later. While he was still looking, Julie's hard silhouette stood in a square of sunlight. There was just a flicker of surprise in her cheek muscles. Then she shut the door, put one hand on a hip. "Recognize yourself? That isn't me. It's enough like you to make it worth $100,000 if we work it fast. Worth $1 million if we stick it a couple years. Those pics were snapped when you were boss man of L.A., when you cleared $20,000 a month, or you thought things stunk pretty badly." He just sat there, waiting. She stepped forward slowly, her eyes full of funny, intense light. Her voice was like a sing-song prayer. "Ricky Wolf's not dead anymore. He's back from the grave in this room now, sitting there, and he doesn't know it. He's going back to L.A. to be boss man again." She stared down into his features, and her eyes were burning amber. "What do you think of that, Ricky Wolf?" He got it. He got what she meant, and it was like a stiff kick in the teeth. He pulled back, yelling it. "I know what you're thinking. It won't work." "Yes, it will. It has to. You can't fool people. Stuff like that happens in dreams and books. Nobody believed I was him. I don't look like him. We couldn't get away with it. It doesn't happen." "It happens to us, Ricky Wolf. It happens to us." "Like hell it does." He started getting up. She cracked him across the face, hard 3 times. Her lips were shaking, her eyes almost insane. "It happens to us." The new dark suit fitted like grafted skin. One side padded out a little. Ricky'd been built that way. Higher heels added altitude to Brogman. He learned talking with a faint lisp, chewing a cigar. But the thing he had said to Julie was, "I keep telling you it won't work. I don't look like him. For a moment, yeah, if you look quick, if the light's bad. If you're half blind, you're crazy. You want to kill us both." "Shut up," she hissed. "Or I'll do the killing now." He bit his cigar fiercely. There were lists of facts, names, alibis to digest. Julie fed, crammed them down him. The leaves fell off the calendar like a high wind. Then Julie one day elevated a stein of beer, yellow like her eyes, and in a softer voice said, "Tomorrow's the big day. L.A., here we come." She drank beer. "How's it feel to be Ricky Wolf?" His hand shook. He looked at his face mirrored, distorted in the brown hip of the half-emptied bottle, the cigar, the mustache. He wanted to blurt, "It won't work. An old gag like this won't fool people." But there was that look in her eyes, hot as boiling gold, so he shut up. She was talking again almost to herself. "I can't say what it was like, that noon at the bank, you standing there. Something about the way you stood. Your face, like Ricky, made up in a slightly new package. Lord, how it yanked my insides." He thought it was a nice gesture. This next, he clinked his glass against hers. "Let's drink to our new life, together." She got mad. "No," she snapped. "Let me say things like that. I keep telling you." Looking at her, trying to understand what ticked queer inside her red hair, he sheepishly downed his beer. It seemed right that she drove the car to L.A. all the way. It was a picture postcard day. She pressed the speed way up and kept it there when it was safe, her hair streaming like a scarlet banner. They swerved corners to Spring Street and 3rd, parked the car, and walked, 2 dark suits reflected in shop windows, toward the bookie joint. He couldn't figure it out. It was crazy, but he was actually enjoying it. Brogman knew the place from Julie's pungent description. A huge magazine shop smelling of ancient pulp magazines and old books in musty pyramids, dimly lighted slouched figures moving around in the dimness, phones jangling far back in the 20 aisles, and hundreds of tables. Back in that dusty place where naked light bulbs hung dying in the high ceiling, the biggest horse racket in L.A. tucked away its profits and shilled its suckers. The door to hell. Brogman felt his heart pounding. What if he forgot facts, figures, words, names? Julie shoved him. It took a moment for his eyes to adjust to the dark after sun. People's faces blurred in the gloom, and he was moving. His hard heels, rapping like knuckles, followed the sullen redhead with the pendulum walk. A lot of seated men jerked up. A lot of reading men stopped reading. A lot of talking men caught their tongues in their teeth. A lot of smoking men choked on their cigarettes. It was like flinging a boulder into a stagnant pond, watching ripples skim out and rush back. "Ricky! For God's sake, fellas, it's him! Ricky! I'm seeing things!" A sound of bodies stirring, shadows moving, and then one single voice saying, "That's not Ricky Wolf." And again, "That's not Ricky." It was a flat statement. Brogman felt his gun in his palm slip like a frightened animal. His breath hissed in his nostrils. In the silence that followed, he stopped dead still, and there was only the sound of Julie's high heels tacking along the wooden floor, and slowly, with a kind of frozen dread, coming to a halt too. Brogman turned. Out of the shadow a guy slipped, who was too well dressed for his own good, with a long white horse face and red-rimmed, tired eyes, and sweat on his cheeks, a sort of balding guy whose features set off a trigger in Brogman's mind. Merritt. Julie'd given a description. Merritt from the old days, one of Ricky's sidekicks, a jealous kind of gunsel. Merritt, the name clicked. There was something in Julie's expression, almost fear, that looked strange on her, out of place, lost and crying in the dark. Her hand crawled along her dark purse vaguely. Brogman knew it was no use. It was no use all along. "That's right," somebody else agreed. "It ain't Ricky at all." The voice sounded odd, funny, disappointed in its surprise. Merritt said, "What are you trying to pull, wise guy, you and the redhead?" Brogman's jaw stiffened. He admitted evenly. "No, I'm not Ricky." He heard Julie gasp. He continued, "I'm not Ricky Wolf, not at all. I don't have to be him. I'm me. I'm myself. And you, Merritt, you don't count for beans." The darkness began to swim. Everybody was sort of held by Brogman's voice, waiting. "You can't get away with an old trick like that," was Merritt's quick reply. "Who are you? Kids to try something like this?" Brogman pulled his gun, and while the darkness got darker and there was only Merritt in front of him and the others waiting, he swore, tightened up, and fired 3 shots. Merritt folded over the bullets, taking them into him with curious, pushing, helping fingers. He fell flat down on his head, choking. "Ricky!" It was Julie's voice. He had a flash of the metal jaws of her purse flipping wide, her gloved hand burrowing like a white squirrel inside, extracting a little blue gun. "I'm in," said Brogman. There was a sort of power to the way he mouthed it. He sort of grew upward. He seemed to fit his suit better. Everybody else still stood, looking at his face, like they were seeing the devil and couldn't run away. Brogman took in every face, names, data, facts, figures that Julie had given him. Here, one face, a fat red one with beer smelling from its lips. "Kelly!" He snicked it out with a jerk of his gun. "You know what to do. Get moving with this body." "Sure, boss." Kelly moved, his big stomach and big shoulders and fat, long arms. Brogman glanced around. "You, Rhodes, help him. Get your car around in the alley on the double." Rhodes hesitated. "Well?" asked Brogman. "Sure," said Rhodes hastily. "Sure, boss." Other shadows were becoming men now, taking the cue from the others. Someone grabbed Merritt's feet, someone else's arms, and there was a shuffling of running feet back through the dark little office. More orders, more swearing. You keep people running so they don't have time to think. No time to get mad, thought Brogman. Keep them excited. Keep their eyes fixed on something. Keep their eyes fixed on something else. Then you fool them. It didn't take more than a minute for the body to vanish through the back door into the alley. A car roared outside. A small crowd gathered in the front door of the shop. "Clear them away." Brogman flipped his gun through the air. "Catch, Sammy," he told one of them. Sammy scuttled through the back office with the gun. To the others, Brogman gave a brief going over. "Any of you want to pull out? Pull out. Or pull now. Any of you don't like me? Say so. I'm in." Kelly emerged from the back, wheezing, mopping sweat off his huge pink face. "Everything's okay, Ricky." He caught himself. He groped for a name. Brogman gave him one. "If it makes you feel better, call me Ricky, too." Kelly felt better. He grinned. "Okay, Ricky. We always did get along, didn't he?" He stopped and thought about that. "Didn't we? Almost, I guess." He stood there. There'd be a cop in a moment. Brogman shook his head, and he and Julie and Kelly went into the back office with two others. Before closing the door, he poked a finger at the young guy named Knight. "For the cops, it was all a mistake. Nothing happened. You don't know anything." He slammed the door hard. His hands began to shake, so he hid them in his pockets. Julie was just watching him all this while, holding onto her purse, examining his face. "It happened," she said. "It happened when you shot Merritt." "What?" he asked. She didn't have to answer. A cracked mirror hanging on the dirty wall told him. He saw his eyes there and shivered. Out of the past, he heard Julie's voice saying, "You're no killer. It's not in your face. Your eyes are open too wide for killing." In the mirror, now, they were narrowed to hard slits. Maybe there was more than one way to be like Ricky Wolf. Maybe you didn't have to look like him, but you could act like him. The guts inside made the difference. And the eyes. He broke away from looking at himself. Let's move, Brentwood. Let's move, Brentwood. That's where my house is. The one with the swimming pool, huh, Julie? "Sure," she said softly. "Sure it is. Come on, then. You too, Kelly, and you boys. Lots of work for us." "Sure, boss." They meant a lot, those two words. "Sure, boss." They all went out together, and that's the end of chapter 2.